Sometimes you'll be in a gallery and the person next to you will say, "I really like the composition of this image." Perhaps you wouldn't know what to say in response. You've heard the term, but you've never been able to fully explain it. Perhaps someone has looked at your work and mentioned that they love the composition, or they have suggested ways that it could be improved. Artistic composition is something that you need to understand in order to create better artwork. Also, it's important to understand key artistic concepts because it will make it easier to talk about your work in a professional manner. Your artwork might be amazing, but if a gallery thinks that you would struggle to explain your ideas, you could miss out on an opportunity. They might look at your work and see how you intuitively grasp the importance of composition, but feel concerned that you don't know the concepts or the theories. What if you get interviewed by an art magazine and you risk revealing that lack of understanding? You need to talk about your work with confidence, and that means understanding art theory. It means being able to analyze your own work and the work of others. Composition isn't the difficult concept it might seem to be. When I was learning this, I was told to think of a piece of artwork as being like a cake. You have a variety of ingredients. One ingredient is colour, and there is a large variety to choose from. You also have an unlimited supply of lines, and they can be bent to any shape you choose, and they come in a range of thickness. There is a massive array of ingredients to choose from, and each will have a different taste and will affect the viewer in a different way. Composition is about how all of those ingredients come together. It's the process of combining all of those elements in order to create a tasty cake or a fantastic piece of artwork. There isn't one way to create a piece of artwork, but some ingredients don't mix well. When making a cake, you don't want to combine onion and custard. Some colours interact in this way. Sometimes different lines can combine together and create the visual version of beans and jelly. In this course, we will be looking at ways to avoid these kinds of mistakes. You're going to create artwork that has great composition because you will have combined every ingredient in a way that enhances their strengths and considers the relationship between one ingredient and another. When we make a cake, we have a set of ingredients, and when we create a painting, we have a collection of elements that we combine together. What are the elements of a composition? Well, basically, it's everything that goes into a painting. The structure within a piece is one of the elements of our artwork. So what is the structure? Well, it begins with the marks we make on the canvas. Every mark can be made in a different way. Every gesture and movement is unique. Perhaps you stab the canvas with your brush, or you apply a long single stroke. A mark can be long or short, it can be a line or a dot, and a million possibilities in between. When lines join together, they create shapes and structures within the work. Suddenly, the line is no longer seen as a line. Now we see it as the edge to a shape or form. These structures can appear three-dimensional or flat. Colour is another one of our key elements. There are many different colours and we have a wide variety of choices. We can also change the value of each colour. To change the value is to change how light or dark a colour is. Different shades can be used to increase the amount of colour that we have, or they can be used to enhance the structural elements of a composition. Through shading, a shape can become more three-dimensional. Although the act of shading is an example of these elements combining together. Shading requires a specific kind of mark making. while also adapting the pressure in order to alter the value of the colour. You can already see that these elements combine together. I'm separating them in order to explain the concept of composition, but sometimes it's difficult to separate one element from the other. For example, it's difficult to separate a mark from its colour. You can't take the colour out of your pencil. When creating a piece of artwork, many choices are made simultaneously. How these elements mix together is where the composition is created. Texture is another element within a piece of artwork. Some areas can be smooth and others textured. You can tell this is a composition element because if you create a white canvas that has alterations in texture throughout the piece, the viewer's eyes will still wander around the canvas. If they saw it as being irrelevant, they would only see the white of the canvas and view the canvas as a whole. Texture is an element in its own right. It is not just a way of enhancing structure. Space is another element of a composition. To leave space in a composition is a conscious choice. A composition is shaped by the blank spaces we choose to leave on a canvas. There are many ways space can be used to create a good composition. We know the elements, so what are the best ways to combine them? We will be looking at a number of composition tools in order to answer that question.